Grand Rising, you beautiful soul. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Ooh. Alright, hold on. Look, chill. Alright, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. I am just waiting for a little bit. Oh, Takara. Yes, I woke up. I'm going to talk about PRONIA. My brain is tired. But for a little bit. I'm just awake now. I love you. I hope. Hi, yeah. Yeah, you'll see me saying duh. Spiritual. Get that shit into it. Hello. Alright. I'm just gonna wait for some more people to come in. Those that were needed answers, God will freaking answer them and put them in this chat. Because I'm gonna explain to the world and whoever tunes into the lives the fuck paranoia is. The fuck is important about paranoia. Because I believe it's a mental disorder that we all deal with. Every human out there deals with this mental disorder. And I truly am not going to stop fighting to figure out how to prove that this terminology of paranoia is something that all humans go through at an early age in adolescence. And I really want to explain this, so if you guys are tuning in for the very first time, I'm waking the fuck up right now. And both mind, body, and soul. I said both, but that's three components. I'm the fourth component that comes out of this. Because I'm the deliverance of my truth. Not God's truth, not anybody else's truth, my truth. And this is why I'm able to share this experience with you guys, because paranoia is a mental disorder that doesn't have many information on it. There's not a lot of whole lot of research on it. But to explain it to you guys, paranoia, something that you guys have been hearing about on TikTok, is a mental disorder that can occur when trauma occurs at a young age. Trauma. When the child's mind is opening and expanding at a very young age and experiences trauma. Basically, paranoia is the opposite of paranoia. So a child can get paranoid and start to not feel like they're loved or this or that because of one thing. Now, when that occurrence happened to me as a child, the trauma that set in afterwards, was very intense. Was very fucking intense. This is what I want. I don't even know where to go with those guys. Fuck. This is what I'm saying. Paranoia. Paranoia is a mental disorder that we have when we are young kids. Now, I think this is naturally given to us in the sense of a sign from God or a message from God. And what I mean by this is that paranoia has been the biggest thing that I was searching for answers for my whole life. But it's also been one of the things that helped me become who I am and be only in that truth. Not to say I'm perfect, not to say I'm not perfect, not to say one thing or another. It's the end of duality. So I'm going to explain this to you guys because paranoia on this, honestly, I believe everybody shares paranoia, this mental disorder that occurs when you are a child. It is a state of psychosis that a child enters based off the traumatization that is occurring in their life. For an example, when I was 8 years old, guys, my brother's best friend had spoken to me the night that he decided to kill himself. I was the last person in to be with him physically that day that he killed himself. And here's the thing. As a kid, I thought it was my fault. I thought I could have done something. And then I know all these things are not true today. Like, I worked and healed through all this shit. and kept continuously finding more new things that like my inner child traumas just bring it up. But this pronoia, guys, it's a mental disorder that happens when you're in your early childhood years. A child enters the state of mental psychosis. And the thing with the mental psychosis, when a child enters the mental psychosis, what's up, Mike? How are you, brother? When a child enters a mental psychosis and he or she does not have the proper system from our parents or just around to deal with these things, basically the child is forced and left to deal with those thoughts alone. So from the age of 8 years old, from when the event had occurred with my brother's best friend, I held that pain onto myself because I had believed that I could have spoke to somebody, I could have told my mom, I could have told so many people. But this is the mental psychosis that I went under. The mental psychosis that I went under was I was responsible. And not just that, I know obviously I wasn't responsible, but that younger version of me didn't know how to communicate that, didn't know how to ask those questions. And so when I went into that mental psychosis at 8 years old, and yes, I do recall this because how much it's taken my life away. Because I went into this mental psychosis that later then propelled me into a life that one thing that was huge is that I never knew that I was always empathic. And just like myself and everybody else, we're all empathic. At a young age, I was very heavily sensitive to the energies, but I wasn't aware of these things. So this mental psychosis, when it hit me 10 times harder because my life started forming itself as a kid. I thought I was cursed. So I did everything in my possible power to just proceed forward. And by proceeding forward, I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't wrong and this wasn't wrong and all of these different things weren't wrong because you know what, like I couldn't walk normally like everybody else. I couldn't be on a circuit board like everybody else. I could not understand like everybody else. And I beat myself up and people couldn't understand me. And because I couldn't understand myself, people couldn't understand me. The psychosis of trying to figure it all out so that I wasn't hurting nobody because I was freaking out in my mind. As a kid, I should be a kid, you know? As a kid, I wasn't being a kid. But it was because I was so determined to find a solution, an outcome, something to explain to people like what was going on with me, what's going on in general. And I didn't have the solutions. I didn't have the answers. And so my whole life, I just went through this mental psychosis of like, why am I the problem? What can I do? What am I not doing? I went through this mental psychosis throughout my whole life. And this is why at 17 years old, I just gave up. I gave up. There was a suicidal awareness. I gave up. 17 years old. You know, like it's, I took 36 aspirin pills. For anybody that's watching that hasn't seen me before, at 17 years old, that was my suicidal attempt. And my suicidal attempt was my very first one. And I wish I could say it was my last one. But you know what? I am so glad that I wish I could say this. The fact that I could say this today is amazing. It's a blessing to me. Because that blessing that is here today within myself is here today with you guys. Because I want to share what the frig this word is, pronoia. It's a mental disorder that occurs when you're traumatized as a child, and basically what happens when you get traumatized as a child enters a mental psychosis of thinking they're always the problem. They're always trying to find a solution, that everything about them is wrong and nothing about the world is wrong. They think everything about the world is correct and they are the problem. I thought I was the problem for 20 plus years of my life. And I spent the only reason I can speak of this is because I understand myself. I know who I am. And to know who I am, I I didn't have the logical fucking makeup to make sense of what the fuck was going on in my head. It's torturous. It was torturous living a life where people weren't understanding. You were sensitive, but just how sensitive? Nobody was really understanding. Nobody was seeing that all the hard work that you were putting in behind the pictures. Nobody was seeing those things. Nobody was seeing those things because you weren't seeing those things. You weren't seeing the good within yourself. You weren't seeing the strength within yourself. Pronoia is a mental disorder. When I was a kid, I entered a state of psychosis. And the state of psychosis made me believe that I was the problem. And everything else was not a problem. The world, everything. So I didn't think I fit. I literally did not believe I fit into this world. I did not believe that as a child. As a child, not an adult. I know as an adult I'm supposed to be fucking on this earth. But as a child, I did not know. I did not know. I was searching for answers like galore. My whole day, every day, for 7 days a week, for fucking 365 days a year, to the fucking, till the age that I'm now, currently, fucking 28. And fuck this hair. Listen, if y'all are turning in for the very first time, my name is Divine Drew, or you can call me Andrew, you can call me whatever you want to call me. I wanted to share my story about this word, pronoia. If you guys can send the freaking messages out, send the likes, send everything. CJ, what's up, brother? What's up, man? I love you too, man. Thank you for stopping in here and just showing up. My dude, I'm freaking doing well. I'm doing well. And I'm just sharing the truth. Sharing the truth, brother. I freaking learned something that... That's funny I say that. You know, you would probably be like, oh, finally, you learned something, man. But I learned something, man. CJ, I learned that as a kid, I had a mental disorder. Or what I believed I had a mental disorder. I was young. I entered a state of psychosis. In the state of psychosis that I entered, I thought the world was perfect. I just didn't know I was. And internally, I went looking for answers for 20 plus years. For 20 plus years. I always thought as a kid I was the problem to people's lives. And it wasn't my fault. I entered a state of psychosis, which got me then into a mental disorder called pronoia. And I have an extreme case of it because I didn't have a proper support system. And it wasn't my parents' fault. Never. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't people's fault. My family, my friends. It wasn't anybody's fault but my own. For one part of it. The other part was I'm not going to take my responsibility because I've done. The other part was the emotional irresponsibility between human beings. Because I was a young boy just stuck in pain over and over and over and over and over because of the psychosis. But I wasn't aware of this, guys. I wasn't aware. These tears are not one just of pain. These tears are tears of joy. Because for my whole life, I never understood why I couldn't relax. I never understand why I couldn't shut the fuck up when everybody was telling me to shut the fuck up. I couldn't understand why I wanted to feel love but I couldn't feel. I wanted to understand a lot more. I wanted to understand a lot more, but I didn't have answers. I didn't have friends that could understand. I had all of these things that understood me at the times I needed to be understood. And I'm forever grateful for people that walked in my life. And people just don't see the intensity of my gratitude, because sometimes society says it's weird or not normal and not cool. And these are all things and words. These are all things and words. Thank you, Dustin. Um, Things and words that I've cultivated through my truths. Because the only way I learned the truth was by walking through it. Because I was under such a deep psychosis. And I was under such a deep psychosis, I thought that everything I did, if I started breathing, it was bad. Like, I entered this psychosis because I was just so scared, guys. I didn't, because of the one event that and my business partner here, Coach Cowan. By the way, guys, please visit this man's page. He is one of the most beautiful men I know to this existence. Beautiful father of four gorgeous girls, gorgeous girls. Absolutely gorgeous family and everything, guys. He's a coach. He's one of the greatest mindset coaches that will help you get to where you got to get to, and he's one of the greatest at doing it so sensitively, like on all levels. He plays to everybody's minds, because the truth is, he wants to make this pain once understood. This pain that was never understood is now understood through people like him, through people like me, through people that are going to share stories. Because I do believe all of us in humanity, we all feel this. We have all had this mental disorder. Some of us are a little bit more extremes. Some of us are not so much more extremes. And I just truly believe that with the combination of all of us sharing our stories, just talking, using our vulnerability as the gift, the tool. But the only way that we can use our gift of vulnerability as a tool is if people are present. And this is where people struggle the most, because either people spend their mental days in their forward thinking or in their past, or they'll take their past and try to bring it into the present, which then screws up their whole present day thing. And it's so hard to be, it is a hard thing to be present for most people. I understand this. My whole life I lived present. That's all I had. That was my truth. I had to learn through my youth. It came at that cost to understand this. The one way you want to be present with yourself, people, is being okay doing nothing. And being okay doing nothing, being okay realizing you are nothing and everything in the same sentence, in the same sequence, and just to love. And the truth is, the reason why you look at my TikTok, if you haven't, if you're coming on here and you haven't seen my TikTok at this point, check it out. Check out the truths. And check out the truths that I want to share with you and everyone, and the messages that come with it. Because the truth is not spoken. The truth is felt. Just like my tears. That's the truth. Your body won't lie to you. Your mind will, to protect you. But this is our conscious responsibility, to be aware of this guy. Because this guy is not evil, but is also not the driver of our vehicle. Because you can take the brain out of the body and perform brain surgery a lot longer. You can perform a lot more things on the brain and still have the body awake and alive. Try doing the same thing to the heart. Doctors are a lot more finical with the heart, and there's a reason. As above, so below. So below, as above. Meaning, quantum. Everything has to have balance. If God is sending messages, if God is sending messages from the ethers of heavens, and the ethers of the universe, and the ethers of darkness, because even nothing is something. Those messages, as above, have to come somewhere. It's energy, people. It's not God. It's not religion. It's science. Energy, as above. The sun that rises in the morning, so below. To give energy to the earth, air, everything, to the people that's on this fucking planet. So they do. As above, so below. But we have to balance out the scales. So we can't just receive from the universe, because we have to refill the cup. And the cup is gratitude towards the universe. So below, as above. Transfer that information, integration, and release and confirmation. And that's what we do. We as humans receive downloads. They go through our bodies. We want to ground it within ourselves. But the best way to ground them is into the planet Earth. Because the messages, you'll know what messages are made for you and meant for you, and what messages are not. I didn't know the difference between my whole life, so I walked through it all. And as above, so below. You're the transmitter. Your heart is like the computer, the hard drive, the everything. In order for these messages to be understood, your heart has to be open. But the only way it can be open is if you trust that you're receiving information from the ethers, which to many people, because it's not seen, that is considered crazy. And conversation is considered crazy, because only I have experienced it. But the thing is, I am not the only one who has experienced any of this and all of this, because this is something that we do every single day. There's a reason why we have plastic on our shoes. They want to stop conducting energy, because we are the ones that produce so much energy. And when humans are not emotionally responsible, humans hurt other humans. And I don't know about you, but I've been hurt 1,000 times. I have no fear. But what humanity is trying to get other people to understand is this. These people that have fear, and the ones that have these mental disorders, that are doing their best to not cause harm or whatever. This is what's wrong. This is what's challenging. Solutions for all of this, people. The solutions to find a way to help people mentally and understand it at an early age. To know these things. Because people go through the mental psychosis of trying to be right for themselves, not for anybody. They're trying to absolutely keep finding the answers. I got to be the solutions. Because from a young age, they went into the psychosis. Because we do that as children. We replay thoughts over and over and over. We see this. I don't have children myself, but I watch children because they're pure. They're loving balls of joy. I love kids for that. Because kids don't lie to you. They lie to you out of fun. They make you laugh at it. And sometimes as people, as parents, we don't laugh at it because it's like we have our emotional attachments to these things. But when you are just as beautiful as my freaking business partner and myself and other men, you recognize these qualities and traits to help each other. To help each other so that you can then understand that your child is just learning in the pure innocence of love. All children. All children. And this is why everything that we're doing is to protect the children. Because the children need our help. Because what I went through for 20 years. And out of those 20 years, I would say 8, 9 of them. 8, 9 of them. And still counting. 8, 9 of them I started to understand myself consciously. Because I was like, well, fuck, guys. Like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. You know? You know, from 8 years old to 17, I pulled the trigger. I pulled the freaking trigger. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. You know? At 8 years old. Loose children. Look. Whatever, man. 8 years old. The trauma that occurred threw me into a mental psychosis because I didn't feel safe at home to talk to mom and dad. I didn't have older brother to talk to. I did, but I didn't know how to talk about emotions. I was 8, 9. I was a kid. I didn't know how to talk about my mind. I didn't know how to talk about my heart. I didn't have a support system. I entered a psychosis. So a part of my reality that I live as a 28 years old man, part of that reality still today exists, that child, AJ. It's like being schizophrenic, but fucking for love, for the good, not the fucking fearful schizophrenic. I live with my inner child in my fucking head. I live with him in my head. That's how I've been able to talk about all of this and get through all of this, because I've worked on that relationship in my past, in my present, and my future. Because of the plant medicines I've taken, because of the healing work, because of all of this, I decided to put into myself because I had no other option. Who was going to give me my answers? I tried killing myself to freaking be like, I don't want to figure this out anymore. I told God, fuck you. Fuck my life. But as I drink a freaking Starbucks coffee, look at that. Look, what are the irony in this is that I call these things, these moments of battles between science and God, kickers, cosmic jokes. And the reason why I call them kickers and cosmic jokes is because if I don't laugh at my shit, I won't understand this. And so, to that degree, the things that I can't explain, the things that are in the unknown, that's where the beauty creates, and that's where the beauty starts to build. But in those things in the unknown, I know people are crazy enough to be like, oh, it's a religion, this, that, blah, 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 blah. But I put it in the hands of God. Who else am who else in my life? Who else in my life? Like, literally, this book is called Simple Spirituality. It's nothing to do in a religious view of God. People, I'm not speaking to anybody specifically in here. I'm speaking like this because it's the knowing that people choose to ignore all of this. It's the knowing that all of this is very much real, because my whole life I've been feeling vibration, not thinking vibration. So when I tell people I know, because I feel the vibration, the one that's connected on the earth. I feel the energetic pull and the energetic repel. That's the only two energies I've ever felt, is a tug or a pull. And I've honestly only classified these things as love and fear. And the only thing that's in the middle is this guy smiling. Go. Everybody goes through the crazy, but be crazy for the love. I'd rather be crazy for love than fear, baby. I'm saying baby because that's the truth. We were kids when we first got traumatized. And I can tell you the truth. And I can tell you everybody did this, because the child, when it comes out of the mother's womb, is crying. And it's freaking out. But to the child's consciousness, because there is none yet. There is some, because it's opening inside, it's seeing people, it's seeing lights, it's seeing all these things. But that moment that baby is born outside of that womb, it experienced trauma. That's why it freaks out. It's freaking out because it's catching air, breath, all of this, all of that. Yes, but the baby's freaking out. It's trauma. Because it just went from 9 months of being in this womb, in this hole, in this freaking warmth, guys. It was 9 months in this womb. Baby comes out. When that baby came out, it freaked out. The doctor was like, okay, look here, this baby is sexy baby. Clean off. What happens? The baby's so going. What happens when the doctor delivers the baby back to the mother? 90% of the time, 99% of the time. Why? Because the only thing that could heal trauma is the opposite of the trauma, which is love. In my case, love. Because I feared that by me not telling anybody that my brother's best friend was the last person to talk to me about his suicidal attempt. Not even attempt, because the motherfucker did it. Motherfucker killed himself. I held it on myself. I let go. My best friend, Dustin, my best friend, my brother, Dustin, asked me if I forgave my brother's best friend, Eric Power. He asked me, and I said, Dustin, you're so right, man. I never blamed him. I never did. Never once in my life did I blame him for that shit. And then the day he said that, my brother, Dustin, when he said that, that's exactly what I needed to do. Because I was holding on to him subconsciously. Because I just wanted to make sure that nobody else went through that. To talk about it. That's the truth. Hello, spiritual synergy. Thank you, love and light. Come on in. I want to explain to you guys something that I've learned that some of y'all may think is crazy. But some of y'all won't think it's crazy because this is going to resonate inside your mind and inside your heart. That's how the truth is felt. The truth is not felt just in one area. The truth is felt, then heard, and received. Doesn't mean it has to be yours. But fuck. I'm trying to remember. Thank you, guys. If you guys are in here, please take a look at Coach Cowan. This man and I have been working together on a lot of things. Where I can't even express how much he's been just a big brother coach, just a beautiful man that's just looked out. Like, I promise you guys, Coach Cowan that is writing here. Hashtag go love yourself. Literally, it says it in his name, people. You know, share. And I speak like this because this is not addressing 222 in terms of likes as I say this. And I'm not saying this directed to the people in this group. I'm saying this to the people that are going to watch the replay of this live. And even if the people don't watch the replay of this live, saying it out loud from the dark, from nothing is something. Nothing is inside me, but I'm speaking somehow. I am the creating the vibration of these words. What you resist, you persist. Your mind does not know the difference between if you're smart or if you're stupid. Does not know the difference. What's in between is the emotional person. You. How do I know this? At 8 years old, I went through a mental psychosis because I thought I could save my brother's best friend who hung himself as a way of suicide. I held that on to myself because I didn't tell nobody. Because I thought I could heal him. I thought I did enough. I thought I was enough. Meanwhile, that is the fucking crazy part. That's PRONIA. I was paranoid that I wasn't enough. It's the opposite of that. Or it's the opposite of paranoia. I was paranoid. Because I couldn't tell I was doing the right thing. I didn't have the proper system around me to help me. Because who could I have gone to? My parents were both immigrants. No offense to any immigrants that jump into this conversation. My parents were both immigrants. Both didn't understand anything on the emotional intelligence because they went through traumas. They were just doing what they had to do. Move forward. Move on. Nature versus nurture. Most people live in a nature versus nurture. It is 9:21. I went to bed surprisingly, especially expelling all of this energy over the past 9 beautiful days. And I don't even know how I'm still like awake. My eyes, everybody can tell. I got raccoon eyes. My raccoon eyes is something I've had for so long because it's the endless nights I spent with my mother inside my head trying to understand that relationship. All the endless nights with my father in my head trying to fix that relationship. My brother, my sister, my friends, all of these people before the most important person. Myself, just like you, yourself, just like that person, your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad, just like them. You always put yourself last. When we intentionally always use ourselves first to help others. But we don't realize how much more pain we take on and start blaming ourselves. Because why? We do so. We do so because we feel bad that other people have to feel something that we're thinking. And we don't realize. We don't realize how we pass our thoughts and our emotions and all of these things. We don't see how we pass it on for the good. We recognize it and we notice it for the bad because guess what? The world is naturally in a bad state of place. When you look outside, it's a great type of world. This is why we live in a more complex of a world because we live in a man's world. Men there's a reason why there's suicidal rates amongst men in comparison from women to men. And it's not a comparison. I just want to bring this to the fucking reality. Because women say, men are scared of strong women. No! Women are afraid of strong men with good hearts just as much. Just as much. Because we have our own power. We are our own power. We know what is best for us. Because I went through this mental psychosis. Nobody could fill my cup. I was so geared on filling everybody else's cup, thinking it was going to fill my cup. And that was going to provide me with the solution it provided me with. I thought I was going to feel better by helping. I thought I was going to be better by helping. I thought I was going to be okay. I thought I was going to be okay. And look at me now. I'm getting paper, Chris Brown. Hey, no, but look at me now because I'm okay. Fuck. It's so great to say that, but it feels so weird because I've been okay my whole life. I just didn't understand. I was. And the truth is, we're all okay. But at the same time, we all go through parts of our life that we're not okay, but that's what we gotta make okay. Oh, somebody tell me, okay. Can I get a Andrew? Okay. Yeah, because I want people to understand this truth. Because I can activate my heart any given time. I know it. It's the memory. I have so many memories. It's unbelievable. Dustin, since you're on here, our brains operate out of quantum mechanics. There's Albert Einstein's. I'm going to tell you this right now. Okay, yes, Dustin. Yes. Yes, brother. I love you. I love you, man. I do. Fuck. That okay just threw my whole thought off of everything, man. Wow, thank you, brother. Thank you for support, man. Thank you for your support. Even if the story makes full sense or doesn't make full sense, thank you for fucking listening. Because I never had anybody to listen to me fully. And I know you're at work, man. But thank you. And thank you to the 2 other people in here. Spiritual Synergy. You. Thank you for making this real. Because the psychosis that I entered, I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand. I couldn't make things real. I was so stuck on filling everybody else's cup my whole life. Oh, my gouged potato. Oh, thank you for coming. Thank you. Oh, this is so amazing. Thank you for listening, Dustin. Thank you for sharing it, man. Thank you, brother. Like, your energies, even if you didn't actually share with Dustin, it's your energy, man. It's the energy, brother. Thank you. I just love explaining people that, like, this mental disorder that I am doing everything that I can to find. Yes, my brother. How are you, man? How are you? Thank you for being here, man. Thank you. Like, thank you. I was explaining to people on here. At a young age, as a child, I entered psychosis, a mental psychosis, which I didn't know that I wasn't. I didn't know I was not the problem, but I thought I was a problem because I was so traumatized by my brother's best friend killing himself and me finding out about it the next day and not knowing who to talk to, not knowing where I could go talk to anybody. So I thought I was the problem, guys. So my whole life, I worked so hard to find out what I could do to just feel okay mentally as a man, as a little boy, as a teenager. I didn't know what to do anymore. I didn't know. But that's why I'm happy. That's why I can say this. I can say this. Because there was nobody else in my life that spent the same amount of time as understanding this mental disorder. There was nobody else in my life that understood, that gave me the same amount of time to understand me. And that's because I didn't allow people. And that's the crazy part of all of this. It's not even people's fault. And I tried so hard. I don't want nobody in my life to feel guilty. You know, one of the hardest things once I understood this mental disorder that I had, one of the hardest things was seeing my mom and telling my mom, because I didn't want my mom to feel that pain. And I'm not even crying about my mom. It's just in this moment, for 20 years, I've never been understood. And the first thing I feel is love. And I don't want my mom to feel that pain. And this is what I go through as an individual, but not just as an individual. Thank you, man. Yeah. It's not what I just go in and as an individual. This is just truth. Because the truth is felt vibrationally. Because if you look at everything in this world, from our pavements to our cars to our homes, everything's squared, rectangled. For a reason, people. Everything is on a circuit board. They say we live the matrix. This is the matrix. We are the matrix. We internally, when we hear the words, or when we hear people talk about this new earth, new world, the new earth is within us. Because this is spirit, this is life, this is science, all in one. Because the only one that's the holder of all this truth is you. Dustin, I remembered what I was going to tell you earlier. Albert Einstein, he had an equation. You're going to figure this out, dude. It's the quantum mechanics of relativity. E equals mc squared. E is energy. M is mind. C is center. Energy mind center. Because your mind is the source of all creation. Because even nothing comes from something. Love you all. Nothing comes from something.